Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? It's Jamie here. Thank you very much for joining me in this live. Absolutely pumped to present to you guys this one in particular. It feels like a pretty massive milestone that has just been reached. And I wanted to give a bit of insight into the journey. Wanted to go through some of the mindset shifts that I've made as going through this, and also just hopefully give you guys some practical tips in order to compel your business and propel whatever. The one that gets you forward faster, that one. And so I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes, see who jumps on. Tony, how you doing, man? Good to see you. For everyone joining me via the old YouTubes, welcome to my channel. If this is the first time here, my name's Jamie. I'm officially a 2 Comma Club award winner. I can say that now. Woohoo! And yeah, I'm a full-time affiliate and digital ad strategist as well. So if you're interested in learning more about that stuff, feel free to hit the old subscribe button and smash the like button and drop some comments. All that sort of stuff. Walking the dog. I feel like that's some weird acronym. No, what do you call it? Not acronym. What do you call it? Analogy. No. Yeah, I'll stick with that analogy. There you go, Tony. That's the one, man. First comment goes to Tony. Got to be quick off the mark, right? Anyway, I will give it a couple of minutes, see who we got. Just keep smashing those comments, folks. The more hearts this gets, the more comments this gets, the better it is for everyone. That's a word, by the way. Who is this mysterious Facebook user? I see so many of you guys. If that StreamYard thing is poking up, my God, I should have done some bloody language lessons before I jumped on. If there's a link above this StreamYard thingy, can you just click on that? It will actually allow your name to pop up in the feed there. That'd be amazing. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Thanks very much, Tony. I appreciate that. It's been a hard road. I like it. 1 heart. There we go. I'll take it. All right, see what we got. Hey, Richard, there you go, man. Oh, it was you with the dog. Thanks, man. Larry, how you going? Good to see you guys. All righty. Let's give another half a minute. Streaming on 3 separate locations at the moment, so hopefully there's no massive issues. Good lives. I like it. I like it. Interesting. Now my thingy has broken, which is annoying. How you doing? It's Jamie here. Thank you very much for joining me. Mike, Lisa, there we go. Now we're getting the names. Jonathan, how you doing? Tricia, can't see who else we got. Beck, how you doing? All right. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining me in today's live. I'm going to be going through, I guess, some of the things that I've learned over the last 15-ish months. To start with, though, I just wanted to throw this out there. As much as I would like to say that $1 million was all mine and mine alone, no. Look, massive thanks to the team. Jacob, obviously the founder of Super Affiliate Accelerator, absolutely amazing gentleman, and very proud to call my mentor and business partner, obviously Chris Donnelly as well, who's just this amazing pragmatic copywriting legend as well. So the banter that we have is just amazing, and it's just super proud to be part of the team. Well, feels like an acceptance speech. That's ridiculous. No, I just wanted to give credit where credit's due, basically. Also, the big caveat as well is massive thanks to the affiliates. I mean, clearly, it is an affiliate program, and that's where a lot of the revenue gets generated from as well to hit that award. So it kind of feels like it's a little piece for everyone almost in a way, which is kind of cool. So with that out of the way, I thought what I'd do is just go through, I guess, a little bit of my backstory. Some of you guys may have heard it. Some of you guys may think it's just a load of bollocks, and that's fine. I'm prepared for that. But I think it's kind of powerful because I wanted to put a few things into perspective for anyone that's going down this online journey, whether you're an affiliate or an info product producer, or you're blogging, or whatever the thing is, right? Whatever the opportunities you're looking for online are, hopefully there's going to be a few things here that you'll be able to get some benefit from. So, and apologies for those of you that have heard this story before. You might want to just block your ears and whatever, because it might feel like I'm just repeating myself a little bit, because I am. All right, so I'll tell you guys basically the crux of it. I began my affiliate journey in 2011, and I remember at that time, I just saw the numbers dramatically drop as soon as I said that. All right, fine. You guys can come back later. That was brilliant. So yeah, I started affiliate marketing in 2011. At the time, I was working in the financial markets. I was basically working for a derivatives company. We were teaching people about foreign exchange, CFDs, options, futures, all that sort of stuff. Lots of fun. I absolutely love the markets. Kind of stressful though. And at the time, I wanted to start developing my income online. I really have always, ever since I was 8 years old, I remember very specifically a couple of events that happened and made me want to work for myself. It took me a fair few years to finally get that dream working, but I finally did it, which is cool. So started some blogs. I went down the pretty much the same pathway as a lot of people, where I was looking at stuff. I didn't really know who to believe. I didn't really know what was the right thing. I kept looking at different systems to jump into, and I spent a lot of money on kind of rubbish, really, in hindsight. But I learned a ton of stuff, and I would just absorb knowledge. And I just kind of thought, I was stubborn. I was really, really stubborn. I thought I can do this on my own. I've always been resilient. I guess I have had help along the way, of course, but I was always just very determined to make things work by myself. So that led to, I guess, a string of setbacks over the next sort of 6 or 7 years. Tried e-commerce, Kindle, CPA marketing. Fan pages used to be a big thing. I sold t-shirts online, had multiple e-commerce stores. I sold at e-commerce stores as well. I tried to flip domains, and did all this stuff, like all sorts of crazy stuff. Never really gave it a nudge for any longer than 6 to 8 months at a time max, and hence why I probably didn't see the level of success that I had anticipated and desired. Anyway, all came to a head. 2015, went bankrupt. Was an incredibly unpleasant experience. I was in my mid-30s at the time, when all my friends are six-figure earners. They are professionals. They've got families. They're buying holiday homes and doing all the stuff. And I was just like, oh, cool. I can't really afford to eat today, but okay, yeah, cool. I feel really good about myself. And so it was a pretty hard time, and it improved after the bankruptcy, because I no longer had a mountain of debt. That was, I went from super stressful with the debt to no stress because of lack of debt. But then I kind of wore the burden of shame, in my opinion, which in hindsight, it was just, it was my own sort of thought process around that. It wasn't actually, to the best of my knowledge, it wasn't an external thing. People weren't like judging me to my face, at least. Anyway, maybe they were behind closed doors, who knows, but so be it. Anyway, I then went through a string of different jobs, found myself in a situation in 2017 where I developed all these skills over the years, had been running ads on pretty much every network I could think of for years at that point. And I thought, well, I know there's a need in the market for me to run ads for small business, so I left the workforce. And I'm giving you guys some context, and I don't want to spend too much on this particular part, because it's kind of, you guys are just going, come on, man, just give us the goods, tell us the secret sauce. Well, this is actually the secret sauce behind it. It's the setbacks and the journey along the way. So there you go. Anyway, so I always held this dream, and there's something, I'm going to read you guys a quote, and it's from Frank Kern. It said, if one can, many can, and so can I. Something that I heard from Frank Kern recently, and it's something that I've never heard it articulated like that before, but it's something that I always believed. I thought I could see other people doing really well. I thought, it's just like when I made my way into finance, like, to give some context behind, I'm very proud of that aspect of my life, because I didn't even complete school. I was mathematically horrendous, to put it very mildly, but I was very fascinated by the financial markets, things like that. And so I ended up applying for multiple jobs. So I worked out which company I wanted to work for, and I applied for, I think it was like 5 jobs over the course of 2 years, and got rejected from every single one, and including the job I ended up getting, which I know it's a very long story, so I won't bore you guys with that part of it, but ended up making my way into finance. And the reason why that quote is relevant to that is I thought if other people were able to do it, then, you know, so can I, basically. And I didn't really look at the fact that I had no formal education, that I sucked at mathematics and you know, all that sort of stuff, numbers in general. But I was fascinated and I loved it. I loved all that stuff. So I found my way in there. Not just like any finance. This is some pretty kind of high level advanced shit, to be honest. Like it's kind of, yeah, I remember having conversations about what I used to do, and people just kind of roll their eyes and go, okay, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there. Okay, come on. So anyway, that's all aside. But yeah, same thing applied for me when I started looking at affiliate marketing in the online space. I thought, look, if there's other people out there that are doing this, there must be a way. I know there's a way to do this. I'm just going to keep going till I crack this code, whatever it means. And it was super hard because like you go through this process and you're just, you know, as I'm sure the viewers here as well, you guys will attest, like you have it in your mind, like, oh, it gets sold like it's kind of easy. And like you kind of jump into it perhaps with a certain expectation of, you know, I'm going to be hitting 30K months in 3 months from now, which can happen. There's outliers to every story, but our brains have kind of a cognitive bias, I believe it's called. And it's basically where you can reframe the data that you're perceiving or seeing. You can reframe that to create a lack of objectivity when you're looking at things, and so you only start focusing on those extreme cases, like, oh well, you know, blah blah blah, I made 30 grand, blah blah, I made 10 grand this first week, oh my god. And so that's what your brain leans to, because that's you know what the desire is. Oh well, you know, if he can, I can. I'm smart. Hey, what's up? So I always get like really nervous when got this guy on. I owe a lot to this gentleman, and I'm going to go and annoy him tomorrow. Anyway, Jacob Harris, everyone is in the house. Yay! You missed the first part of my acceptance speech, man. Fucking idiot. Anyway, so with all that being said, I found myself in this place where at the end of 2018, I had actually I've found a level of success. I thought, this is kind of cool. I'm got a business, and I'm self-employed. In my opinion, I was kind of half living the dream in a way. I was like, yeah, this is cool. But I was always at the mercy. I was always like, I was a solopreneur, and yeah, I guess you could argue that I kind of still am, although it's a little bit different now. I've got a pretty badass team now. I say I've got a badass team. I'm part of the team, I should say. Need to update my lexicon on that one. But I was a solopreneur, and it was hard because you have to make a ton of decisions every day, and my creative mojo was just burning out. And even though I was only running ads, like it wasn't, you know, it's not like I was writing mountains of copy or anything like that. But like it was quite full on. I found a niche working on behalf of other agencies, and so I was doing a lot of the ads for pretty big business, but I was behind the scenes, so I never got any kind of kudos about that either. And that was fine. I had no issues with that at all. But then it kind of came to a head when at the end of 2018, and bearing in mind I'd still been doing the affiliate stuff in the background, had been doing launch jacking, I'd gone down the path of article marketing, I had still was running CPA campaigns every now and then when I could. So I was still trying to do a lot of that stuff, and nothing really clicked into place. And so end of 2018, the main business I was working with, they made the decision to bring their marketing in-house, which is just business. Like it stung, but I was like, fuck it, whatever. Like it's business, you know, I get it, and it's a smart move. And then they also said, well, listen, here's what's happened. We owe Google quite a substantial amount of money, and we can't really afford to pay our creditors. And so just before Christmas 2018, yet again for the umpteenth time in my life, found myself pretty destitute and broke. And I know this sounds kind of strange because I have a wife and we live together, and she had a 6-figure income. But because of the bankruptcy, our finances have always been incredibly separate. And so because of that, and also because, you know, I guess just pride in general, I wanted to be the breadwinner. I wanted to like at least support the family as best I could, and it just was not happening. And so that sucked. I mean, Christmas was just, yeah, it was hard. It was lackluster. And so then 2019 arrived, and I was like, okay, what can I do? I'm like, okay, I you know what, this running ads and being an agency and stuff, I've enjoyed the process. I've enjoyed leaving the workforce because of it, but I have not enjoyed chasing clients. I've not enjoyed a whole bunch of stuff that to do with that. And I thought, what can I do that is going to allow me to take all these years of skills and knowledge and actually be able to serve people and hopefully make a difference and obviously have a sense of control over my own financial destiny. And so once again, for the, like I say, for the umpteenth time in my life, I found myself in a state of financial disrepair. And in 2019, I actually, it was 2018, I started seeing this young fella from Brisbane way. And I thought, who's this cocky little shit just, out there, bloody, he looks like he's 5 and he's out there like absolutely bloody smashing it in the affiliate world. Like, how is someone just coming onto the scene and making waves this way? And it wasn't, there was, I want to massively clarify, it wasn't a sense of resentment I had or anything. I was just like, fuck me, like, I've been doing this shit for years. And I still, like, I can't even, rub 2 bloody cents together. And this guy just seems to come out of the blue. Like, good on him, and that's the thing. I massively love being able to celebrate other people's wins and their successes. So when the opportunity came to basically, to basically, it was in Melbourne. And I thought, you know what, take a chance, just throw it out there, take a chance, see what happens. And so I thought, you know what, what's the worst that could happen? And I said, hey, love to network, because this thing that we're doing, by the way, it's bloody isolating. Like, for a lot of us that have come from a corporate background, where my old job was jobs plural, I had like a bunch of them and a bunch of different career paths really, but they're always very vibrant. And a lot of what I used to do was heavy bias towards the social side of it. And so, after work drinks and different events, and I worked for an event company and it was in the food and wine industry, so I had to be on the go all the time and networking with people and all that sort of stuff. And so to go from that, and even though I've been out of the workforce for several years now, that transition was actually quite hard. And so it got to this point where I'm like, I feel like I've got the skills. I feel like I've got like so much stuff. I can't quite glue it all together for something's not quite working out for me. Part of it was confidence as well. I just lacked in self-esteem and confidence. I thought it was just I guess I had a lot of emotional scarring from my bankruptcy and things like that. So I thought it was a useless piece of shit. And that manifested, ironically enough. And so that was interesting. And so then, we kept in touch over the next however many months. And then he disappeared for a little while and, kind of popped back out, and we sort of started talking about, which it's very ironic to look back now, but the conversation was leaning more towards running events and just running like 5 big events, charging a couple of grand per head, getting 25 people, and just having like a very lifestyle business. And it sounded pretty cool. Like, cool. Like, if there's any way at all I can tag into this, or like, I don't know what, and in any way, that would be amazing. And then not long after, had the idea for SAA, and I was like, shit, yeah, man, I would, I'd give my left nut to be part of this. It's like, this is fucking amazing. And excuse the graphics there, folks, but kind of sort of poignant. But anyway, on the back of that, that's how it was formed. And the idea, and this is, I really want to hammer this home for you guys that are tuning in now, is that after everything that I had tried, and I still maintain this, that building a brand is one of the most, if not the most efficient way to monetize your skills and abilities. And if you don't have those, then using an affiliate product to monetize. And to paint a picture of that, and hopefully I'm not, hopefully I'm not breaching any confidentiality here, but essentially we sold, I think it was like 30 or 40 beta spots when SAA kicked off. And the reason why that is so powerful was this community, for those of you that are watching in my group, was about 400-ish people, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it feels like it was around about that number. And I shouldn't really turn the comments off when I'm talking, so I don't distract myself. But the reason why that there is very powerful is there was nothing. I can't stress this enough. There was nothing to sell. There's no like, oh, can I just have a look at your big fancy funnel and see if I want to check it out? Because we didn't have one. There was no funnels. There was nothing. Like, no, there was no student results. There was no funnels. There was no like, here's all the modules that are going to be included, and this is what we're looking at getting. There was none of that at all. It was just we had brand equity. Obviously, me to a lesser extent, Jacob to a bigger extent. Same with Chris as well. And like I say, we sold what is now Super Affiliate Accelerator. And I personally didn't quite know where it was going to go. I mean, Jacob had his sights set on 2 Comma Club right from the get-go because he's just like that. I, on the other hand, am loaded with self-doubt and loaded with things that have not worked out in my life. So that was not that I don't think I'm a pessimistic person, but I just have, I guess because there has been a lot of setbacks, I think there's part of me that still like looks at that and go, oh gosh, I don't know what happens. So anyway, thankfully I'm part of a team that doesn't think like that. Anyway, so that's how it came about. But to paint a picture of why the 465 days thing, and I realized on my post that I thought it was 435. I don't know why. Like I said, I'm not good at mathematicating. Can't even say the word, right? So it turns out it's 465 days between $1,000 day and heading to Comma Club. But I wanted to paint a picture of that part in particular, because things can change in such a rapid fashion. This was 15 months ago, and now I'm enjoying a pretty comfortable lifestyle. My wife doesn't work. She helps me out with the business now. I got her out, with her supporting me and this business and me, I guess, going down this pathway and being part of this team, that has allowed me to basically accommodate her leaving her job, which is pretty cool. Something that she was very stressed in. And so that's, one of my proudest moments, proudest achievements of anything is being able to do that. Because it's kind of like a gift to be able to give someone in some way. So anyway, and obviously we've got a slightly different situation where we don't have kids and stuff. We have a pretty low maintenance lifestyle all in all. But anyway, but 15 months. And I wanted to put that into perspective, because when things weren't working in my life in 2019 and I was suicidal and I couldn't really work out why my life wasn't transpiring the way that I had anticipated at this age. And I was playing the not the blame game. Like I've always taken ridiculous amounts of self-responsibility, but I was playing the comparison game, and I was looking at all my friends who were just super professional. And I remember, I actually love this story. So I was out with a couple of mates one time, both very high achievers, and we were talking. I don't know how it came up, but it's just like little boys club, I guess, but they're talking about their earnings, and these guys, one of them's like, oh yeah, I think with bonuses I should hit about 440 this year or something like that, and it's like, oh yeah, nice work, man, high five, yeah. And then my other mate's like, yeah, I think with bonuses and stuff I should hit about 380k per year. And I'm like, all right, man, these guys are crazy. And then Jay, what about you? I'm like, I'm not gonna earn enough to pay tax this year, so yeah. But there's something really interesting about that. Is a saying that I really love, and it's you're never going to get criticized by people doing more than you. And I found that to be somewhat true, because their response after the back of that, I said that very sheepishly, as you can imagine. You're talking to people that are earning, good cash, have very, very good jobs, all that sort of stuff, and here's me like broke and destitute, barely able to afford the one beer that I'd gone out to buy with them. And they said, that's fine, man. Who cares? This is business. You got scalability. We're going to cap out. You got scalability, man. Don't worry about that. And so that encouragement, I know it sounds like a strange thing, but that encouragement kind of made me go, hey, actually, you know what? Yeah, maybe it can happen. Anyway, sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but I want to give you guys some goods. So the thing is that in 2019, it was a good year, because on the outside, I traveled. I'd gone. I think 2018, I'd done at least 3 international trips. I think 2019 was pretty much the same. Spent a month in Italy, all this stuff, and on the outside, you would then go, oh, poor you. Oh, really? Having 3 international trips. Oh, woe is me. But what people failed to see was that I was supported by my wife. She was working a job that was very, very stressful on her, to the point where it made her physically ill after a while. And I felt shameful. Like, here I am, I'm kind of, on one part, I'm like living this sort of pretty cool lifestyle, but then on the other side, I'm like, here I am not really even able to afford to feed myself or my loved ones type thing. So it was pretty shit. And when it got to this point where, because of the bankruptcy, our finances were very separate. And in towards the end of 2019, just before things started finally turning around, and I met my savior JC. Basically, there was a point where I was still running ads for some clients because I just needed the cash flow while I was trying to transition. And my affiliate stuff, although I had a couple of good months and I'd had days where I might make $200-300 type thing, it was very, very inconsistent. And then I turned, and then basically with Jacob's help, it said, look, you pretty much, I'm gonna, what do you call it? Paraphrase, make shit up, whatever that saying is. But essentially the crux of the message was basically that you've got all the skills and knowledge. You've been doing this for years, but obviously there's a bit of a disconnect. And he started highlighting certain things, like the fact that I had been in a sales environment for over a decade, had sold literally millions of dollars offline in products, services, event space, non-tangible things like trading accounts and getting people to trade, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you like that, Tony, savior. That was a joke. Thank you, you got it. And I realized that, hang on a minute, why am I so lacking in confidence and all this stuff? This is ridiculous. I've done this for years. It hasn't always been easy. I haven't always been, the best performer. I'm not the best salesperson in the world, but I know I can do it. And it was a couple of realizations that really just stuck. And then I was like, oh man, now I get it. Like, I can just take what I've been doing offline for years, and I can just, if I bring that online, then it's gonna work. And so I did. And then basically I was at a point where life was not very comfortable, both financially, but also due to the financial loss or lack. I was also feeling a sense of shame, and I was just being an idiot. And so essentially it got to this point where I was doing neuro-linguistic programming. I was like, I gotta try something. There's gotta be something out there. Like, what am I doing? Like, why can't I turn my mindset around to finally attract what I want in my life? Why am I always attracting shit? And why is that always manifesting? I started, and again, repeating that cycle, which ironically I've since learned is very, very victim mentality stuff. And you don't always realize it. Sometimes it's subconscious. So anyway, had $84 in my account. I remember very specifically. And for me, there was another time when I caught up with Jacob, and I had $34 in my account, or 134, I think it was. And but then on this time I had 80. So this is a different one. So I had $84 in my account, went out and with my wife, and I'd seen this video from Tony Robbins. Some of you guys have probably heard me rattle on about this, but basically the video is Tony Robbins meets a small child, gives away swipe method, that crap. I don't know who that is. It's good. It actually works. Neuro-linguistic process is good. Yeah. Anyway, I'll debate that, the merits of that in a moment. So I was doing some of that stuff because I wanted to anchor in the times in my life when I felt very abundant, which were when I was trading the financial markets. And I'd done ridiculous things. I turned $124 into 14 grand in like 7 hours of trading. And another time I turned $1,800 into 24 grand in about a week and a half, something like that. So, but those times were rare, but they weren't isolated. Like, I had multiple times, I'd dump $500 in my account because the markets were moving, and I would turn that into a big chunk of cash, $5K, $10K, whatever. And that was pretty common. So I had that experience of like sudden abundance from nowhere, basically. And so I had that. So I was anchoring it in, or trying to anchor it in with NLP, and it was working. But yeah, I saw this video from Tony Robbins, And the Tony Robbins thing basically said that he had gone out for lunch and he only had, I think it was like $17 left or something like that, and he gave it to this kid who was trying to take his mum out for lunch, and it's a pretty sweet story. And he said the important thing to note is the feeling that he got on the other side of that was him just feeling absolutely elated and bouncing for joy because he had given in a way that was just not in a place of lack. It wasn't like because he expected that the kid was going to pay him back. I'm going to get my $17 back out of this kid, or maybe I'll get to date his mum or something like that. It was like, I'm just going to give it because it's such a nice gesture. And so I thought, I wonder how I can repeat that. And so for me, the next day I went out for lunch, and I love this story because I always crack myself up because I'm so romantic. I took my wife out to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Hey, don't say I'm not good to you if you're watching this, son. And we had a great time, and then we went to a movie, and then we went home, and it was just brilliant. But why? And the important thing that I really want to know. Clearly, I'm joking. It was all I could do at the time. But normally speaking, what I would be doing is I would be checking my phone every 3 minutes, going, "Oh shit, hang on, I think I've got an automatic payment coming out. So can I afford? Can she get a chopped top when she goes into the cinema? Oh, I don't know. Should we? I don't know. Whatever." This was different. I basically gave with the premise of just giving for that purpose. And thankfully, she's a very grateful person. And I think this is a subject I'm going to talk about in a minute as well. Got it written down. And so she just loved it. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. She had a great time. It was just, we had a laugh. Like I didn't feel the stress that I had been feeling for so long. And lo and behold, the next day, I jumped on a call with someone, and they paid $1,000, and I made my first $1,000 online. And it was just, I was bawling my eyes out. I was, running around my apartment, like yelling and screaming and crying, and because I just felt like finally this. Oh my God, it's like been 6 or 7 years of like just. I think more than that, probably 8 years by this stage. And even though I had some commissions from different things, low ticket, I'd never really felt that experience before to that degree. And it validated me, and it allowed me to validate myself and go, I've got this. I understand this now. And so the strange thing was that I then could feel there was a shift in my mindset. There was a shift in the way I was presenting. There was a shift in my energy and how I was communicating with people. And so lo and behold, the very next day, guess what? I jumped on a call. And actually, I don't think I jumped. I think that was done via Messenger from memory. And that person also paid $1,000, and I made my second $1,000 day. And this is like, I've in the space of 24 hours, my life had changed dramatically, and it was unbelievably powerful. And so the strange thing about when you have these shifts is when you're focusing on the good stuff, the being like super grateful for that experience, surprise, you start leveraging your reticular activating system, which is the part of your brain that basically filters out data and filters out irrelevant data. It's kind of like a computer program. So if you're programming it with, why is my life always shit? What does your RAS, your reticular activating system, do? It shows you more shit, and that manifests. And when you're grateful, it means that you are skewing the way that you view the world to a more positive angle. Like you become, because there's an unbelievably important thing here, which is contentment. If you are content where you are in your life and how you are and who you are and what you have, kind of cool stuff happens. It's amazing. And it was pretty amazing. And I suddenly learned there's a few lessons out of the back of this as well, because I realized that when you're not in a place of abundance, when you're not looking, you're struggling financially, what you're effectively doing is you are playing the comparison game. You're looking at where you are in your life and you're going, well, they've got it easier. They've got it better. They get more money than me. I am sucking at life because I'm not XYZ ahead of where I am right now. And yeah, it's a powerful thing to take note of, because when you are making that comparison, what you're doing is you're then giving power externally as well. And so instead of just going, well, hang on, I'm watching this thing, I've got a device here which allows me to connect with the world. This makes me 6 figures, this thing here. I can create content, I can get in front of people, I can message people from all over the world. They can pay me money on this thing here, right here. You know, same, I'm doing this on a laptop, same deal. I got a roof over my head. I've got a glass of water just next to me. I'm wearing some clothes. Yeah, all this stuff. Like, how amazing is that? That you've got all that stuff, you've got these resources and access to that. So I started looking more and more at that. And the path became harder from there, by the way. It wasn't like, oh, okay, now that I've made a bit of cash, that things are good. I also had financial setbacks throughout the course of that year as well, which is kind of hard to fathom. One of the things that we talked about recently in our SAA coaching, and I'm just going to kind of regurgitate that a little bit, was what tends to happen for a lot of us is when you get a sense of momentum, your brain kind of goes almost like, oh, it's like playing a game. I've clocked it now. And once I've clocked something, guess what? I want to go and find a new challenge. Or maybe it's part of our own natural self-sabotage. And so for me, that happened in April and May of last year, where I basically was going down the pathway. I was making consistently more and more each month. And I thought, cool, well, now seems like a good time to go and do this completely oblique project, which in hindsight was just an absolute clusterfuck. I should never have done that, but I did. I tried this other thing instead. And that then sank me down financially. And then I did the same thing in May. And again, there was certain reasons. Again, it came from a sense of lack. I was like, oh, I just want a baseline. Whoa, crazy. Knocked my microphone over. That's crazy. Anyway, haven't even been drinking yet. Or have I? And so, yeah, basically on the back of that one, I started believing that the sense of lack again, which was, and hence why I started looking at these other projects. So like, oh yeah, I need recurring income, I need all this stuff. And it was kind of a hard lesson. So a big lesson for you guys is, if you do have a sense of momentum in your business and what you're doing, just maintain that. And by all means, look for other opportunities that are out there for sure, but don't lose sight of what your actual goal is and what your day-to-day tasks are. Anyway, so that was kind of how I managed to turn things around for myself, and the mindset lessons that I've had ever since have been pretty incredible. Because when you sort of think you're at a certain place, and then all of a sudden something just knocks you for 6, and you're like, oh, far out, did not anticipate that, or I didn't anticipate this feeling to pop up. All the stuff, and that's been pretty compelling, and pretty amazing as well. What I did want to do is also circle back to something that was discussed yesterday in SAA as well, because I think it's unbelievably important. I really wanted to throw this out there, as like the online space, and like if you look back at when people think of like their dream life in general terms, their dream life, and they're thinking, what's the normal thing that pops up for a lot of people? It's like, it's easy life. It's sitting on a beach, relaxing. It's normally tied to these types of things. And why that's important to think of is, as marketers, that is something that people play on, because it is a buying signal. It's a buying trigger, I should say. So it means that if someone is in a shitty situation, or not even shitty, they don't have to be in a shitty situation in their life for this to occur, but if they're in a place in their life where things they're not feeling fulfilled, they're not really where they want to be, mentally, emotionally, financially, all that stuff, normally on the other side of that is, wow, you could do it. It's easy. All you need to do is buy this thing. It's going to be easy. And so the thing is, because people jump into the online space with that in their mind, it means that there's a disproportionate expectation of when results will come. And I kind of, hopefully through my story, hopefully someone's going to become inspired, because it doesn't need to take you 7 years to get any level of success. It doesn't need to take you, however long to make something happen. If you've got something that is based on the stuff that's never going to change. So for people out there that go, I don't know, I want a system, I want this thing to work. Look at things that are never going to go out of style. And what are they? They're things like human psychology. That's never going to change. There's going to be nuances, there's going to be updates, there's going to be more awareness perhaps for some of us, but that's never going to change. So what I'm getting at is things like sales is based on human psychology. If you look at copywriting, putting words out there that elicit a response or elicit an emotion out of someone, that's never going to go out of style. Things like building a brand and learning how to communicate with your audience, that's never going to change. Whereas the latest done for you fancy system / funnel / thing, they are going to change. They are going to change, and they're going to get saturated potentially. All that stuff, right? So anyway, where I was going to go with all that stuff is trying to put a few things into perspective. And so if you flip the switch, and if you're starting out online and your expectations are, in 6 months' time, I'm going to be earning X amount. Yes, it is doable. We have students that have done incredible things in a very, very short space of time online. But the desire has to be there. It can't be half-assed. You can't just kind of go, oh, cool, well, a sales page just said it's going to be easy, so I was going to go do the thing a couple of times a week and see what happens. You've got to go all in, and you've got to, exactly. You got to, in fact, there's a word that's popped up there. Thanks for reminding me, Tony, which is focus. You need to focus like crazy. You need to have intentionality behind what you're doing. Because if you're half-assing it, or you've got employee mentality, which is cool, well, I'm going to try and go prospecting, and I'm going to go onto likes of Facebook or wherever, and I'm going to reach out to a whole bunch of people. But you're just going through the motions because, I need to reach out to 10 people today. Okay, hi. Yeah, 10 people. Okay, great. Yeah, where's the sales? Where's the money? Doesn't work like that. You need to have the intention to find that person that you can help, that you can serve, that you can, hopefully impact in some way. And that's the thing, having that perspective of like what can be done online. And forget the fact that let's just say I was mucking around for like 7 years, probably easier. I mean, sure, I did an entire other business and stuff like that, bear that in mind. But, I was kind of mucking around, I guess, for lack of better terminology, for around about 7 years, give or take, 7 or 8, whatever. But in reality, that point from going from $84 in my account to having consistent 10 to 20K income months every month over the last however long, minus a couple of outliers, by the way, that in itself is unbelievable. I mean, sure, I work a lot, but for me, this is my passion. I absolutely love what I do. I work now more than I probably ever have, but at the same time, also, this is kind of my hobby. So, my relaxing and downtime is usually tied to doing online stuff or reading about marketing or, whatever. So, I do have that fortune. But if you look at that and you look at 15 months, and instead of you thinking, okay, well, I want to make 10K per month in 3 months, yeah, absolutely, that should be the goal. And I'm not dismissing that, but having that expectation, that thing of, well, okay, it is going to be hard, I'm going to be crap at it, and it is going to be uncomfortable, especially when you're building a personal brand, because you do have to put yourself out there, and you are going to face some pretty weird stuff out there, and that is not always comfortable. But 15 months down the track, and you're earning, I don't know, $250,000 a year, like, far out, man. Like, how many other people are doing that? That's something that they enjoy, something that has given them time freedom, location freedom. I know that's kind of a touchy subject for certain parts of the world at the moment. But overall, you have that sense of freedom. So it's unbelievable. And something that Jacob actually touched on yesterday, which I think was pretty compelling, was he went into his cave for like a week. He pumped out 12 to 14-hour days, and he disappeared pretty much. And when he came out, he was no, I was going to make some weird joke then, but anyway, I'm going to refrain. But basically, he produced this absolutely amazing product, and it was incredible to the point, but solved a very specific issue, and it was fucking awesome. And he started selling it, sold it for 500. It's now 1,000. And it wasn't like he did a big launch, like, hey, this is coming soon to a theater near you anytime soon. It was just like, cool, I've done, hey, if you guys want to check this out, here's the thing. And of course, he's got a bigger audience. You can make that argument, things like that. But the point that to be made off the back of that, made about, I think it was, don't quote me, I feel like it was about 25K, you know, in a couple of weeks. So that is now going to make him six figures. That is now another component to his business. And, you know, the thing to put into context and put into mind of that is, if you compare that to anything that's in the traditional world, things that we've been ingrained into believing, real estate, get a big chunky mortgage, go buy a piece of real estate. Maybe if you can find a cash flow positive property, I don't know what the percentage are on these those things these days, but you know, you're not going to be making much. Whereas even if now, if he makes, hey, one sale, you know, one sale a month, 12 grand a year US, which, you know, over here is probably a lot more than that. I can't do the math, like I said, I'm suck at math. So it's about $1,300 for every 1,000 US at the moment. So, you know, that in itself is pretty freaking awesome to have an asset that just sits there pumping out sales. And so why I'm mentioning that is, again, it comes back to that perspective is that we have this unbelievable opportunity. Imagine for the next 2 years, you go, okay, I'm going to give up my life and I'm not going to, sure, I want to make stuff work sooner. I'm not suggesting that you don't. What I'm saying is that if you keep at it, you're consistent at it, you're focused, you keep improving, analyzing, working at what you're doing, honing in your craft, working out the buying triggers for people, putting offers out there. Like I say, learning not the fancy things that are going to go out of fashion, like the real stuff that is never going to change, like how to craft an offer, how to solve a specific problem for people, and dedicate the next 2 years of your life to doing that. There's no reason why people can't achieve those types of things themselves. Jacob's living proof. I'm living proof. A bunch of our students are living proof of that. In fact, a bunch of our students have done it in a lot less time than 15 months. That's the kind of the cool thing. So what I'm saying is that if you focus on, instead of going, I need the money, I want the thing. If you focus on what is going to produce that outcome with intention, then amazing things will happen. The other thing is remain focused, because the reason I wasn't successful for all these years, and not because I'm not a hard worker, not because I wasn't determined, clearly I was, it was because I was not focused. I was jumping around from thing to thing. And it was because I had bought into that dream of, this is easy. It's, you know, you put the thing out there and you do the stuff and then you just sit on the beach and money will come. And maybe there are assets out there that you can develop that will do that from, you know, eventually, but certainly not in the early stages. And so therefore, because I had bought into that dream, and I assumed that the first roadblock that I'd come up against, again, I always thought I was very stubborn and would be determined to overcome those. But what I actually found is I would hit those roadblocks, then go, oh, wow, this sucks. I guess this doesn't work. Maybe I've been duped. And so what happens is someone would send me an email and I would jump on something else. And then instead of maintaining that momentum and pushing through my own limiting beliefs and the blockages that I had encountered, I would go over the other side. I would go, okay, well, might as well start again over here. And so, you know, there was no momentum. There was nothing to build up. So that's my thing. That's what I have for you guys. Basically, stay focused. You know, all the stuff that I've been preaching for a while, which is kind of secondhand because I got it mostly off Jacob, to be honest. And it's things like you only need one product you believe in. You know, stick to one platform to start with. Now, having said that, I'm across. You know, I'm filming on YouTube at the moment. You know, things like that, and Facebook. So, but the point being is that if you are consistent and persistent, good things will come. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives a bit of an insight. I know it was a big, long ramble, but I appreciate you guys that have tuned in. Feel free to fire through any questions that you might have. What I would suggest to everyone as well, I'm just going to ramble on about mindset stuff for a little bit, is the tactics that you learn are around about 20% of the equation. But it is your mindset and your belief in yourself that will determine whether or not you succeed at that long term, which is why I say, like, learn the stuff. And if you to kind of look at some of the top affiliates that's been produced out of SAA, they have a few things in common, and for the most part, it's things like taking ridiculous amounts of self-responsibility. They are eager and grateful, determined, and their reason for doing this is super powerful, and they see the opportunity. That's the main thing. Like, wherever your financial thermostat is, and what I mean by that is everyone has experienced a cap in terms of their earnings before. Everyone here, and so you, like, that if you're at a job and you've only ever earned, say, 50K, that's probably your ceiling for the time being. You can grow past that, of course, but you need to go through a bunch of mindset stuff, upheavals, I guess, in order to hit that next one. Any questions for me at all, guys? Groovy. So that's my personal journey anyway. What I will do, I'm just going to rattle on in the back of that. Hey, what's up, Tom? How you doing? Thanks for joining me. So obviously I've talked about my own personal journey and updating my kind of financial thermostat and updating my belief system and having that confidence in myself to go out and do certain things. When it comes to developing businesses, and I guess of this sort of nature, big things are like going back to mindset. You don't know what it's going to throw at you. You sort of, there's no road book for that. Maybe there is now. Maybe that's something that could be in the works, perhaps. But you don't really anticipate the kind of weird stuff that happens along the way, the emotional ups and downs, the certain things that get thrown at you, challenges, so to speak. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So yeah, that's why I took that shot. I think it was Wayne Gretzky, I think, said that. Don't quote me. I said that on my wedding. Oh yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, absolutely more epic shit coming. Yeah, going back to that other thing as well as gratitude. Like I say, that's been a huge thing, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you are stupidly grateful about stuff, it tends to manifest. Yeah, I thought Jordan as well, but I believe it's Wayne Gretzky that's credited that saying. Don't quote me on that. Feel free to Google it and let me know. Little advice for anyone starting out on this journey is, I think I kind of mentioned this before, but really just find, I'll recap because I've already kind of mentioned it, but find something that isn't just done on hot air. Like, always tell people to look at how something's being sold, not necessarily what is being sold, because it'll give you some insights. Some of those little emotional triggers that they have on the sales page and things like that. But if you focus on, like I say, the things that are never going to go out of style, human psychology based stuff, being objective in your decision making, don't be emotional when it comes to making, even buying decisions. I would encourage it, just using logic when it comes to that. When it gets hard, don't lose focus, because it is going to get hard. The sales pages don't tell you that, and most sales people won't tell you that, but it's the truth. It's going to be hard at times, so stay focused. And when you're feeling like, oh gosh, is this for me? Should I give up? I don't know. It's normally when you're just below the surface and you're just about to break out, kind of like a seedling or something like that, I guess. Yeah. And stay committed. Remember your why. One of the things we talk about in Super Affiliate Intensive and in Accelerator as well is your why. Your reason for doing all this stuff needs to be freaking powerful, because all that stuff you deal with, which is the backstabbing and the weird stuff that pops up that you just don't anticipate, it will wear you down if you don't have a powerful why. And more so, the external noise, which is something we talk about a lot, and that's going to wear you down. And the external noise is, bless them, our friends and family, love them to bits. But when you make the conscious decision to create a personal brand, you are making the conscious choice to put yourself out there. That is not always easy. That is, for most of us, is not always comfortable. And if you find people are making comments, and even if they're not, sometimes we perceive that other people are judging us, when in reality they are actually just supportive and they just don't know how to show it. But in our minds, like, oh, they're judging us. And again, coming back to the why, you need to make sure that's super powerful. The other thing I'll say for anyone that is relatively new, if you're not at that point where you're making having a sense of consistent sales in your business, that is the hardest phase. That is the hardest part of this whole journey, because you don't have any credibility, and you need to somehow work out how to get that credibility in order to then basically start building that momentum in your business. But that part there, that's where all the mindset stuff comes in. That's where the hard yards, the work and the consistency and the passion and the all that sort of stuff comes from. And if you nail that part, then it's a lot easier on the other side. From that perspective, at least you have confidence in being able to derive an income from your audience. All right, appreciate you guys tuning in. If anyone's interested, I've actually, speaking of creating assets, I'm a little bit slower in the creation of mine. Don't quite have the power of focus that others around me have to that same degree, but I've created something that I think is pretty badass, and it's to do with developing content to get in front of your audience, resonating with them and persuading them in a very congruent way. So if you're interested in learning how to create better content that sells more, gets more leads and higher quality leads at that, go to affmac.co. That's affmac.co. And it's currently $100, and it's going up to $197, and it should be worth a lot more. Thank you very much, Tony. I really, really appreciate that. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because that's why I feel like the trio are a good team, because we do have that kind of balance there with that. Slightly different walks of life, but good life experience and experience all the same. All right, I've been rambling on for an hour, so anyone got any questions? Would you like to know the secret sauce of how to get your own Comic Club award? Yeah, it's punchy and to the point, but hopefully delivers a ton of value It must, because I know someone that's gone through it and they made a sale off the back of it. So yeah, let me have a look there. I'll have to circle back because I can't comment on StreamYard. Sorry, man, but yeah, I'll drop that in. All right, folks, I'm going to bounce. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. I really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned. This is just the beginning. We have some absolutely amazing stuff planned, and just an absolute honor to be there and be here, I should say, and hopefully help you guys out along the way. So yeah, look forward to it. You guys have an awesome day, and I will see you guys. Actually, if anyone's interested, I'm going to be chatting with none other than Jake Karras and the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Chokovitz tomorrow, who's one of our students, in fact, our top student. And we are going to be flying to the Gold Coast to hang out with the man himself. So stay tuned for that. I think that'll be streamed into Jacob's group if you want to check that out, which is the No BS 7-figure group, info business group, I think it's called. It's just changed the name, and I kind of forgot off the top of my head what it's called. But anyway, check that out. And yeah, look forward to catching up with you guys very soon. Cheers.